So good morning or good night, depending on where you are, and welcome to another interview of The Shield in a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and tonight we have a member from the band Resin, and they have a new album coming out. I think it's March 8th. And I have Phil Cangelosi. He's the bass player, and he also plays rainsticks for the band. So, Phil, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So, I like that your room goes with the cover art of your album a little bit. You
Ah,
have like that zen, like meditative type of space there.
I didn't even notice that, but you're totally right.
Yeah, I'm totally right. So, yes, I listened to the album Solace, and I was listening today to your previous work because I remember the last album. I think I saw the cover or I've heard of the band, but I really enjoyed that. It's you're put like a sludge metal band, but there's really a lot of like atmospherics and psychedelic to the music. Like I'm telling you, like you can like meditate to this music, which I enjoy because I like sludge, but I like when music can have like that yin and yang where it goes like super hard and then it takes you on a mellow place. And you do that with this album and the previous one. So Solace, pretty cool album. Is there like a because I was like hearing the songs and looking lyrics, is there like a constant theme in this record?
Sort of. It's loose, I guess you would say. We like to try to write albums, and I don't know if we'll keep doing it or what, but I think we will. But we usually use environments as motivation, just as like something to write to, and we enjoy it too. So this one, if you can't tell by the album art, it's mountains. So we were trying to convey mountains, and Rob does most of his lyric writing, and he of course kind of makes a bit of a story, which I'm not entirely sure what that is. But it's loose. It's nothing to we like keeping things open to interpretation. But the main theme of this album is mountains, and trying to convey that sense of weight, but also beauty at the same time. So that's kind of this was our interpretation of it, I guess. But again, that's
Yeah.
kind of a loose. That's not the main driving force, but that's kind of what we use as our anchor, I guess you would say.
So on every album, you try to take like themes from something in nature.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
No, yeah, and it feels like in the music, you feel like you're like in a dream-like type of state with some of these songs. For example, the album starts with the album opener is purely music. There's no lyrics to it. And it's a 7-minute opener, instrumental opener. So that takes a lot, not everyone can pull that off with Allured by Feverish Visions, but I really enjoyed it. I think it has like softer parts, more sludgy guitars, and really gives you a feel of what the record is like. Was it a conscious effort from the band to start with a purely instrumental track?
Yeah. That was all of our previous albums. We usually started with kind of a bang, just trying to jump people into it. And it didn't seem appropriate with this record, especially with the other tracks we had. The funny part about that song was not really supposed to be the way that it came out, per se. It was actually going to get trashed. And then we
Oh
just,
no.
yeah, we were going to just pick something else, and then we slowed it down and just it sounded cooler if we just like jammed on it. So that song is actually kind of the result of like we knew what we were going to do heading into the studio, but that was kind of what happened. We knew it wouldn't have vocals, but that if you can't tell by listening to it, there's a lot of instrumentation and it's pretty spread out. And that's because like there's flutes that Spencer played and layered them in the studio. So we were trying to like, which is a theme of this album, is use the studio as a tool. It's like an instrument in and of itself. So there's like a piano in it. There's flutes. There's synth. There's sax. I believe there's sax. There's the rainstick,
I think
which is
there's sax in a few of the songs.
yeah. There's a sax like sprinkled throughout the whole album. And yeah, so that song was us just kind of like exploring the studio and seeing what that comes up to. And that's what it
Yeah.
did.
So what is the sound of the rainstick? Because I'm
Oh yeah.
curious.
It's I mean, it's like beads falling down inside of a stick, and I got really into it. I swear every studio we go into, there's always a rain stick around. There has been every time we've gone. And I got a special one. I got this like fancy one that's got like a 30-second, like you tilt it, it'll take 30 seconds before all the beads fall down. So I just enjoy it. It adds like a really nice layer to everything. Funny thing about this album is when we track it, I just sit there in front of a microphone and go through the whole record and just add it, even if it's not appropriate, and cut it out. Like when we're doing post, we'll cut out what doesn't sound right. But most of them stayed in this one. So
Yeah,
it's
because all of a sudden you're like listening to a heavy sludge, and then you feel like like you feel like you're in a spa.
yeah.
And it has like that calming sensation that I hadn't felt like I felt maybe listening to Enja. And I remember there was like a Incubus song called Aqua's Transmission from that. It was like the album concert. They had like it like a very meditative sound. I remember in that album it said, "Do not play this track if you're driving."
Sick.
But yeah, the rain, I don't think, is there other bands that use that? Because I never heard of other bands using the rain sticks.
I'm sure there are. I mean, I'm not sure of any off the top of my head, but yeah, it's just a really good textural thing to add. It just like kind of does that. I also find, just on a personal note, I find myself playing with like I guess textural instruments like that. Like I got a jaw harp I've been trying to play a little bit more. And that's fun. So, but that one I just love. It just fits so well with the music. I love using it. So we use it all the time. It's great.
Yeah, you seem like a guy that would be into world music and other stuff, like an open ear to other type of music.
Oh yeah, anything that sounds great is good. Yeah.
Yeah, like with that, like what type of music do you listen to that you think that maybe you could incorporate some of that influences to future Resin records?
Oh man. I think the fun thing with all of us in Resin is I wouldn't say that even heavy music is necessarily our primary listening habits. Like Spencer, he loves our synth player. If he loves like a house music. He likes like I think one of his favorite Autechre, so like noise kind of what's it called, electronic music. Electronic music is his thing. So like we all pull from different sources of inspiration, and we all go through like Rob is like the king of going down like rabbit holes of certain genres and just like really honing in and getting super into it. So it's kind of like a lot of the music is also inspired by what we're listening to at the time, and what we just want to make. We don't want to make the same record twice either. So I'm not sure how much influence other music has on what we're making or that we're trying to strive for, but we're definitely influenced by what we happen to be listening to at the time of running a record.
Yeah, so something else I got from listening to your music is that it had some of that like movie soundtrack type of vibe.
Yeah.
Like it could be in especially I thought of like I don't know uh Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, those type of
Yeah.
movies, like because of the soothing psychedelic sounds that are mixed with the harder like is are you like really into like movie sountrachts per se?
I'm not personally, but the one that I got really into that I thought was awesome was Mandy. That movie had a like Johan Johannesson, who's like an electronic guy. That was the only soundtrack that I like
For what movie?
for Mandy with Nick Cage.
Oh,
I
I
forgot.
haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's so good. It's really good. And the music is like just like fits to a T.
Yeah, I have to see it because I really haven't seen it. I know that you for the first single, I think you chose the song Possession, right? The second song on the album.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a. I thought that was a great track that really hit like all the music that you were trying to convey on this album. What like for Possession? Why did you choose that as a single? And can you talk a little bit about what that song is about?
Yeah, well, we all like that song a lot. That was I don't know what would have been one of the first ones, but we've been like toying with that a lot. We thought it outlined what the album was going to look like, at least from a single perspective. You know, obviously there's like a lot of elements going on with it, but we thought that did a good job of spotlighting the album. It's fun to play too. Like we have been playing it live now for like over a year, I think. Just because it's great. It's in 7. That's a new thing we did with this album. There's a few tracks that are in 7 instead of everything in 4 or 3 like we've done in the past. Which I'll be honest, that's new to me. I don't like for this whole album, that was like a new territory for me personally, but now I love it. So it's like it feels good. It's kind of like floaty. And I just love doing it now. But yeah, that was in terms of inspiration for the track. Nothing in particular. It's most of our writing process is usually Rob has a riff or something and we just all work on it and enjoy it. And then kind of build it out of there under the concept of what the album is trying to be, in this case, a mountain. And then we just thought that one came together really nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, the cover, it reminds, there was a cover for a Haken album that I think it was called The Mountain.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it's an old Haken, yeah, but that's prog rock, like really different. But yes, I really like the cover of the album and the flow. I think you just premiered a track this week or last week for the song Reversal, right?
Yep.
So Reversal's pretty interesting as well. What can you tell me about that track in particular?
Yeah, that one is like kind of I would say that one's probably my favorite in terms of just like listening to it. But it's got like that one is like one of our like my tenets with writing a heavier song is it sounds heaviest when you've got some calm parts to kind of see where you've gone. Like, you know, when you listen, I love death metal, but when you listen to death metal, sometimes it's just always like at a plateau and you're always getting crushed. And sometimes you get a little just like you can be like kind of, you know, cleaning your room and on, you don't even feel it anymore because you're so desensitized to it throughout the album, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like that's kind of a quality of listening to it. And like a song like that, I appreciate it because we take it as low as we can and then bring it back to as heavy as we can. You can really feel the ebb and flow of the whole song. And that's what I appreciate about it. Like probably got one of the heavier parts on the whole record, but it's earmarked by just some of the calmest parts as well. So it's fun to play because of that, and it's also just fun to listen to.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, yeah, when music is like hard all the time, sometimes it can get too samey sounding. So I like what you guys do, that you go hard and then you like, hey, let's chill.
Yeah.
Like let's take out a blunt and smoke it and just feel the vibes of the song, because I think that gives the song more breathing room, especially it's 6 tracks and most of the songs are like 7.5 minutes, so it's longer tracks. I think when you have longer tracks, it's good to have like let the songs I guess breathe, if you will. I'm not a musician, but yeah, that's what I get. Like I like the changing in pace. I think it makes it more interesting, and plus you can get a rest from the heaviness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you said that I was reading that you spent 24/7 on the studio for this, so you really spent a lot of time on the studio creating Solace. And so you said that you changed from playing to a 4 to a 7. Was that like a conscious change, and how did it come about to have that change in sound?
Oh yeah, well we always want to try something new with different records. Like we don't want to make the same record twice. So there's that was one thing to do. Spencer specifically loves time signatures. He is far better at it than me as well. So it was fun having him kind of lead the way with it, because it was it was just something kind of like as a group new. So it was just something, it sounds good and it was fun to do. A lot of these songs we wrote during the pandemic era too. So we had a lot more time to just be like, I will just whatever, let's see what happens while we're doing this. So we could at least get the gist of it going during that time and try new things, explore new concepts with it, which I do think we did with this album, which is fun. And I'm also proud of us being able to do that and not make it sound like we're, at least in my opinion, didn't sound like we're like, doing try-hardy stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's like the inspiration for that is just wanting to try new stuff that we haven't done before. And with every record after this, we're going to keep doing stuff like that. So that was kind of the big thing with this record.
Yeah, you should, because there's a fine line between pleasing fans and also pleasing yourself, because if you like what you're doing, I think people will like it. It's genuine. And yeah, there's bands that always put out the same record, like an AC/DC, but yeah, I think there's bands that are good for the experimentation. So the last song had some spoken word by Mary Davidson for the song Web Roots. How did you decide like that? Do you want some spoken word on that track?
It just fit in the part that it was in. We have had some of our records in the past. Chaotic Divine is the only one that has had some kind of spoken word in it, whether it's just a little bit or like a little section. And we know her, and she's great, and we just thought like this would be a fun way to incorporate and just collaborate a little bit. She did great, and it was like super fun working with her, and it's something that it was nice being able to reach out to someone far away, because I believe she's based out of Montreal. So it was kind of nice being able to collaborate with an artist who lives in another country and still be able to, even if it's, just a small section, it was fun to be able to do that.
No, yeah. And you mentioned the album before that, Chaotic Divine. I was listening to that one as well today, and that was really, really awesome as well. And I love the artwork that you guys put out. The artwork for this in particular, I saw that it features artwork by Adam Burke. And the illustration, yeah, the artwork is really amazing. I know I'm showing it in the background, but I really want to show it like up close. So here we have the artwork for this. So I like the way that you put the logo, because it looks like very Japanese, and you see the mountain, the light, and it's really cool. Like, did you give him the idea that you wanted that theme of the mountain, or did he just have that artwork and you guys used it?
Yeah, we asked him. We like to, if we ever ask for any kind of collaboration with anyone, as best as we can, we kind of keep it as open-ended as possible. So this was just so that they can, do the thing they do best. And we were just like, it's about mountains. Go for it. And this is what he did, and it was great. I mean, everything he does is also just beautiful. He painted directly onto like plywood too, which was like
wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize he'd painted on wood, which was nice. And we were able to grab it from him while we were on tour like last March, which was cool. So we got to actually pick it right up from him. And I really like the logo, just because on a personal note, I don't know what it is with me, but like black and red was never a color combo that I was super into. And I always was like, I don't like the way that looks. And then just recently, especially with this album and stuff, it's like, it looks sweet. And even our merch, we just dropped some merch yesterday that's mostly black and red. And I'm like, man, why did I not like this? This looks so sick. I'm really into it. And I just love the red on the mountain. It looks great.
I just really think also that it makes it pop out, like being red, because you're like, sometimes in metal, everything's black, and like, look at me, I'm wearing like a super colorful shirt. But yeah, like I think the way the logo looks, it looks different. Plus, it has like that Japanese type of feel. The way it's, I think it looks cool. And so you guys are going on tour soon, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have here the dates of the tour. Solace North American tour. I see that there's a band playing with you, but I cannot read what the band's name is.
Oh yeah, it's Orcs. It's OrYX. They're great. And then
and I see starts March 20 on Chicago, Illinois. So you're starting in the hometown. I read that you recently you moved in 2015 to Chicago. You relocated there. Why did you decide to relocate the band to Chicago?
Well, we actually it didn't start till we were here.
Mm-hmm.
But Rob and I have known each other since like, I mean, like probably the third grade, like
Oh
forever,
wow.
since we were like children. And I even went to college with him. So I've known him for forever. And then when we finished school, we both did our own thing. And then he just asked me one day, because do you want to move to Chicago? I have a room up, and just kind of shot in the dark. And I was like, yeah, that they work. I was at a time in my life when I kind of needed to move to. And I was like, well, all right, yeah, let's do that. I thought I'd be there for a summer, and now it's like 8 years later, and I'm still there. I'm still here, but we love it here. It's a lot. We're both from the Northern Virginia area, but where we grew up, it's not, the resources to do stuff like this is not nearly as easy. Like, I mean, the nearest venue from where we grew up was like over an hour away, and stuff like that. It's just like a little bit more difficult. No idea who even had a studio, anything like that. And then when we moved here, it was like, oh, there's a rich, healthy scene here of people that want to go to music, whether it be metal or anything for that matter. There's plenty of people that are trying to do new stuff. Chicago now even has a pressing plant that they've had since like 2019, I believe, for vinyl, which is sweet. They're great, smashed plastic. So it's just like, this is such a healthy place, I'd say, for a band.
Yeah, I think Chicago has always been known for great bands. I love the Smashing Pumpkins that come from
Yeah,
there. I think even Disturbed from Chicago.
they
So it
are,
has
yeah.
a different type of, obviously different type of bands, because Disturbed, Smashing Pumpkins, nothing alike, but they have like it's a great town, also great food. One of my best friends that I do videos, she's living in Chicago right now. So yeah, I know you have also that great festival that I may go this year too. What's the festival you have in September? Oh my God, I forgot the name. There's a festival that they have in Chicago, in Illinois,
Riot
that is
Fest?
huge. Which one?
Is it Riot Fest?
Yes, that one, Riot
That's one,
Fest.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that I've been told I should go to that one.
Oh, yeah, that one's fun. Yeah. It's also
Yeah,
huge.
yeah, I know it's huge, but it looks like when I've seen clips, like people look like chill. There's like, it looks very organized. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I would love to go to a Riot Fest. Maybe this year I'll go
Yeah.
over there, because it sounds like depending. I don't think they have announced who's playing this year yet. So
Yeah, I'm not sure. Probably not. Usually they do in like the spring
yeah,
or so.
yeah, you guys should write. Please have us play. Have Resin play. Yeah, I think we're cool. But so you're going on this tour. What are, after you finish this tour, do you plan on going on like festivals, or what does the future hold for Resin?
Um, right now, our next goal is to go to Europe again. We have nothing in like, we have things in the works, but nothing set in stone. It's a little bit more difficult now. We did play in Oslo this past fall. We were
Oh, I've
trying.
been to Oslo.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that was great.
Expensive as fuck.
It is very expensive. Yes.
One of
And
the best hamburgers that I had in my life. I was in Oslo. I had them on the train station. I don't remember the place, but it was like a $40 burger. It was super good, but it was $40.
yeah.
But yeah, it's expensive, but it's a great city. The only bad thing is that everyone's super tall, and I'm like 5'10", and I feel like I'm a hobbit over there.
Right, right. Yeah, no, we had like a really good time there, and it's beautiful, and everyone's so nice. And we were hoping to make that a European tour, but everything's so much more expensive. Like, we had things in the works, but it was just
Yeah.
like, this doesn't make sense for us. Like, we can't do that. So we're hoping to try again this year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, when
But
I went there, they had a festival called the Infernus Music Festival. And
yeah,
it was pretty cool because they had like different bands playing like in small clubs. And I went to it was the Balkan Arena was the name. And when you got there, it's like a two-story, but I didn't know at first. And downstairs is like a bar. And at first I didn't know it had like a second floor. And I'm watching bands. I'm like, oh, because I wanted, there was a Psychroptic was playing, which is an Australian death metal band. And there was a French band that now I can't, a Canadian band that's really famous. And now I can't remember their name. And Exodus was
Nice.
playing. And I was seeing like these black metal bands. I'm like, this looks like super small for Exodus to play. And I think I asked the guy next to me, and he's like, "Oh, there's a second floor." In fact, if he hadn't told me that, I went up and I missed Psychroptic, but I got to see Exodus. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think the festivals in Europe are pretty cool. Like when you compare festivals, like I think sometimes they can be better than the festival in the States.
Oh, they usually are, man. Yeah, especially for like rock music. The festival we played was in a Host Sabbath. And we did it in an old church. Like it looks sweet. It was a huge room. It was like beautiful. I mean, it sounded like shit, but that's because it's in a church. But like, who cares? It was fun, And then there's another one, and we played it in 2019, Sonic Whip in Nijmegen in the Netherlands. And that was so crazy to me because I've never, like, it's a building built specifically for that purpose of like a smaller sized festival. So it was like, I don't know anywhere in the States that's like this, where like the public transit comes right to the side of the building. It's like you get off the train and
Wow.
and I was like, dude, that is,
So people can actually drink and just get on the
it's built like the whole building was built like crowd control was so easy. Everything made sense. And in the backstage, they had like, there's like 20 different green rooms so that they could have a festival kind of set up whenever they want. I was like, man, this is really nice. Like, I wish there's more like this, because I was like, and then they had a lot in the back for when you park your car, van, or bus, whatever you drive. And then I was just like blown away at how well that was like put together. And I'm like, nowhere in the US do you get, I mean, unless you're playing these giant nice rooms, but like,
yeah, no, I was living in Florida. I moved back to Puerto Rico, but I was living in Miami, and I saw some shows in Fort Lauderdale. There's something called Culture Room, but it's like in a mall, and like you have to fight for parking. And I saw some bands there. I saw like Baroness there, and I was walking to the venue, and the lead singer was right there in the parking lot. I was able to meet him and take a picture with him. I'm like, oh, there's the lead singer of Baroness right there. But I'm like, the security, yeah, no, I think the venues over there, like, for example, that one I went to the Vulcan Arena. It was super cool venue. And you couldn't tell it was a bar. And then it was like a whole arena on the top, like
sweet.
Yeah, it was really sweet. And the only thing is that since everyone's like 7 feet tall, I could hardly see the stage because everyone was so goddamn tall there. But very nice people. The people in Norway are super nice. So yeah, I hope that you guys can tour Europe. I know it's expensive. Plus you have to fly over there. It's not as easy, but yeah, I think the European metal like a crowd, I think they're more accepting of different genres. Like when you see their festivals, you have everything from death metal to power metal to like even glam. I think they have everything, and people are just happy to see it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great thing. So it's been super fun talking music with you and talking about the album. I know that, Phil, that the album is coming out on Wednesday, March 8th. So why Wednesday? Because now music's released Friday. Why did you pick Wednesday, the March 8th?
Man, like that's news to me. I didn't know. I didn't like.
Remember back in the day, new music came out on Tuesdays, but they changed it a few years ago, and now it's Fridays. I think it makes sense for Fridays because you have the whole fucking weekend to listen to it.
So I work for a company, and we did like a marketing thing. And for me, the biggest thing was always like, when are people checking their phones, doing stuff just kind of at their own, in their own world? And it's always in the middle of the week during the day. So I was like, oh, that's a good time. People are just at work doing their own thing. it's a good time to have some new music. Because I know for me, I was like never on a Friday, because on the weekend I'm like, especially if the weather's nice, I'm like, I'm out doing stuff. I don't really care. I'll visit this again later. So in my mind, I was actually, I think, the one that pushed for it. I was just like, yeah, middle of the week, everyone's at work, whatever, you need something fun to listen
Yeah.
to while you're at work, here you go. Like, and then on the weekend, go live your life. I don't know, whatever you want to
Yeah,
do.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I used to go a lot. I love getting music on Tuesdays. It makes sense because you had the whole week. But the good thing now, as a YouTube reviewer, now you have to, like, every Friday, like when a huge album comes out, you have to like see who gets the review first. But sometimes, like, yeah, I want to have the review as fast as I can, but I also want to really listen to it and not do like a half sloppy ass job and just put it out there.
Right.
But for example, like a type of music like yours, yeah, it's a type of album that you need to take time with it, to listen to the nuances, listen to the rain, the rain stick
Yeah,
in the
that's right. You got
songs.
to vibe with it.
Yeah, you gotta it's not like this album that you can, it's not like I say, like a Godsmack, or that you can listen to it like, yeah, I think I can give 2 listens, or free, and I can give my opinion. But an album like this, you need to take your time, because like every time you listen to it, you hear something new. And to me, that's good music, the when you take time to listen to it and listen to the different layers that you guys put in. For example, the first song alone, that it's like an 8-minute instrumental opener with all those instruments. You really have to like music, because if you're a casual metal fan, you'll be like, oh, this is too much for me.
Yeah, yeah. It's the whole, like, it's like all of our other records too. It is a concept. So it's in different songs, but it should be ideally listened to front to back. That's kind of how it was written, and that's how we meant for it to be. So it's I mean, you can do whatever the hell you want, but that's how it was written. So it is like, there's some slow burn parts, there's some that it's with the hopes too. If you're listening for the heavy parts and that's what your thing, the slow burn parts are supposed to make the heavy parts hit harder, because and
Yeah.
then vice versa. Because I love playing those quiet parts live, especially because we're I don't remember where we were recently, but like we get so quiet sometimes. I can like hear conversations happening in the front, and I'm like, wow, we are dead silent up here. And it's like, people are like carefully drinking their drinks, and I'm like, oh man, in like a minute we are going to be ear splitting loud here. So this is kind of fun that we can do this. I don't know, when I watch a band too, I like that. It's kind of like, it's like watching a movie. You have movements and like different things are happening. We're trying to keep it interesting because it's fun. That's the way that makes it fun. So
Nice.
that's like the same thing with this album. I was trying to keep you interested at the same time.
Yeah, no, you kept me interested. It's a interesting album all the way through. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I enjoyed your back catalog as well. So if people don't know Resin, do not sleep on them. If you like psychedelics, sludgy, dare I say, not prog, but some proggier
Kind of
elements to it.
prog, yeah. I would call it a bit prog.
Yeah, you could call it prog. So what other, like, what new music have you been listening to lately?
Oh man, new music. Well, let's see. Trying to think. This is a kind of a little while back, but the newest one that surprised me was I got into Glitch a little while ago, and Oval was my favorite. They're like and I just love that because you hear a lot of like people with like sound manipulation. They'll like manipulate like physical into the recording. It'll be like tape manipulation, or like that's kind of the main one. But Glitch is like CD manipulation, which is just like cool relic of the 90s. Like you mess up the CD a little bit and it'll like create skips, but you use that
Oh,
as
I remember the 90s and the CD skipping.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing, and I was like, oh well, let's get into that. And it's weird. I remember I had it on in the car just as background music, and it's like a little unnerving too. It's like a little ominous.
Yeah, I used to have a CD player in the car, and if you hit a bump.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the same thing. And my girlfriend was just like, this is stressing me out. Can we change it? I'm like, yeah, this is kind of a weird thing to listen to driving.
Well, it's called Glitch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
So there,
I thought that was like really cool. Let me see if there's anything else interesting that I was listening
yeah,
to.
yeah, we have 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Zoom's telling me, yeah.
The one band I actually was surprised, not surprised, but it was at the end of my year list. I love shoegaze.
Oh,
And
me too.
yeah, shoegaze is, I mean, there's like some tracks that are clearly like kind of shoegazy tracks on this record.
Yeah, I could
But
tell that you're into shoegaze.
oh yeah. The band that we're touring with, Grievo, they're like on my Spotify, they're one of their songs was one of my like top played songs of 2022. And I just think it's really good, like modern. I don't even know if they want to be called shoegaze, whatever they want to call themselves, but it's like this modern style of shoegaze, still very 90s influenced, but like
Yeah,
I just
because
love the way.
there's a like even Death Heaven last album was purely like shoegaze
Oh
with
yeah.
black metal, black gaze, you
Yeah.
would call it. But
I
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
I really like shoegaze. And I could, yeah, your band does have some elements of shoegaze in it. And I do some videos with another YouTuber called The Green Man, and he has like a series of shoegaze. And we try to talk about different shoegaze artists because like I think it's a style of music that doesn't get talked to, enough about, the shoegaze,
Oh yeah.
because it came out in the 90s with the grunge, but grunge was more huge. But shoegaze, great shoegaze artists. So yeah, I could talk about shoegaze a long time. But Phil, sadly, this is telling me that I have less than a minute, but it's been really fun talking with you about Resin. And the album, people, is coming out on March 8th. You can pre-order it, stream it, whatever you like, but support new music. And anything else that you'd like to say to the people before we go?
No, that's it. It just I hopefully if you're in the US, we'll see you this late spring, early summer.
Nice. So catch Resin on tour. So people, until next time, this is Hector, the Shield on a Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.